Nước là khởi nguồn của sự sống. Nước làm cuộc sống thăng hoa. Và nước cũng cướp đi sự sống với nhiều hậu quả khôn lường. Thực tế cho thấy đuối nước là nguyên nhân hàng đầu gây tử vong, đặc biệt đối với trẻ em và thanh thiếu niên mọi nơi trên thế giới. Hàng ngày, mỗi giờ trôi qua sẽ có 42 người tử vong do đuối nước. Con số này đồng nghĩa với mỗi năm thế giới có khoảng 372.000 người bị tử vong do đuối nước. Phần lớn các tai nạn đuối nước xảy ra tại các quốc gia có thu nhập thấp và trung bình, nơi mà sự tiếp xúc thường xuyên với môi trường nước trong việc giao thông và nông nghiệp làm tăng nguy cơ xảy ra đuối nước. Việc này ảnh hưởng rất nhiều đến các nhóm dễ tổn thương, trẻ em, người nghèo và người cao tuổi. Tại các quốc gia có thu nhập cao, các tai nạn tử vong do đuối nước tại các hồ bơi trong sân sau nhà đã cướp đi nhiều sinh mạng nhỏ. Tác động của nó lên mỗi gia đình là vô cùng to lớn. Cậu bé chỉ đang ngồi cách mặt nước vài cm. Đó là điều không ai có thể chịu được, cảnh tượng này. Thật khủng khiếp. Samuel hiện nay đã 4 tuổi. Con không thể nói chuyện, con không thể di chuyển, con chỉ có thể ăn uống thông qua một ống dẫn được gắn trong dạ dày. Bạn sinh con, bạn có mong ước một đứa con sẽ sống, sẽ trưởng thành, rồi có gia đình, có học thức. Tôi cũng thế. Giờ tôi sống với vai trò chăm sóc cho Samuel liên tục 24 giờ một ngày, 7 ngày một tuần. Tại Bangladesh, nước hiện diện khắp nơi và trở thành một mối nguy cơ đáng kể cho trẻ em tại đây. Đuối nước gây tác động sâu sắc cho gia đình và cộng đồng. Tôi lặn xuống 4 lần. Trong lần cuối cùng khi đang nổi lên, tay tôi chạm vào một chân của bé. Tôi đã kéo cháu ra khỏi nước. Mọi người trong làng quay đứa trẻ trên đầu. Tôi không biết phải nói gì. Cảm giác vô cùng đau đớn. Thảm họa đuối nước xảy ra hàng ngày trên toàn thế giới. Khi đuối nước xảy ra trong các trường hợp lật phà hoặc lũ lụt, mọi cộng đồng đều bị hủy hoại. Cơn bão Haiyan vào tháng 11 năm 2013 đã tàn phá Philippines. Hơn 6.000 người thiệt mạng và 1.000 người khác mất tích. Các trận lũ quét do ảnh hưởng của thủy triều và các cơn bão nhiệt đới dữ dội mỗi khi xảy ra cũng có thể lấy đi sinh mạng của hàng trăm ngàn người. 75% số người thiệt mạng trong các thảm họa lũ quét đều do đuối nước, và con số này được dự kiến sẽ ngày càng tăng trong tương lai. Nước là khởi nguồn
So we have watched the beginning video clip on the program. First of all, on behalf of the organizing committee, we would like to send a thank to all distinguished guests and participants to the talk today. So hello to everybody, and also those who are attending our program on social media. So in order to raise community awareness on drownings and to protect our children, the Ministry of Labour, Invalids and Social Affairs coordinate with Global Health Advocacy, Incubator, World Health Organizations and other military to organize a live stream talk show, Your Care Child Survival, to call on parents, families and community to join hands to prevent drowning and to protect our child survival, especially during the summer vacation amid very complicated evolution of COVID-19 pandemic. Thank you very much. So before the program begins, I would like to introduce all of you who joined the program today. On governmental agency side, we are pleased to introduce Her Excellency Madam Nguyễn Thị Hà, the Vice Minister of Labour, Invalids and Social Affairs. We would like to introduce Mr. Đặng Hoa Nam, Director of the Department of Social Affairs of Malaysia. We would like to introduce Ms. Vũ Thị Kim Hoa, Deputy Director of the Department of Child Affairs from Malaysia. And also Representative Ms. Cao Thị Thanh Thủy, Deputy Director of International Cooperation Department of Malaysia. And also together with the Ministry and Agency and Press Agency, we would like to introduce Ms. Kiều Thị Diễm, Deputy Head of Traffic Safety Department of the Ministry of Transportation, and also representative from the Department's Waterway Department, and representative from Ministry of Education and Training, and representative from Vietnam Central Youth Union, and only welcome the Department's Traffic Police, Ministry of Public Security. And on international organization side, we would like to introduce Dr. Kỳ Đông Park, WHO Country Representative to Vietnam. Thank you. And welcome Ms. Đoàn Thu Huyền, Director of the Global Health Advocacy Incubator, GHAI, USA. On parents representative, Mr. Hoàng Anh Tu and Ms. Trần Thu Hà, and also international organizations on children's affairs who are participating in the talk today. Once again, we thank you very much for your participation in the talk show today, and hopefully that when we are now in amid the COVID pandemic situation, you can always stay healthy and safe. Now we come to the main agenda today. Drowning. Drowning is a silent killer, killing more than 2,000 Vietnamese children a year. And Vietnam is currently among the countries with high child drowning mortality rates in the world. Especially in the recent COVID pandemic period, we have seen that the number of child drowning incidents has not decreased, but continue to occur, partly due to the fact that children have been staying off school for a long time and parents still have to go to work, leading to the lack of child supervision. So summer has come, signals an alarm about child drowning, as annual data show that about 2/3 of child drowning incidents occurring during the time. Ensuring safety of children at home and community is extremely important. So here we'd like to invite you to watch a live stream.
Dòng sông Đà về đêm đã lấy lại sự bình lặng vốn có, nhưng nó vừa cướp đi 8 sinh mệnh bé nhỏ. Con phố này, đêm nay không ngủ, tất cả chìm trong sự tang thương. 7 trong số các học sinh gặp nạn đều sống xung quanh khu vực đường Phạm Hồng Thái. Một số em nhà chỉ cách nhau vài mét. Cậu bé này đã từng mong muốn trở thành một bác sĩ, một nghề cậu nghĩ rằng sẽ giúp ích rất nhiều cho những người ở thôn quê cậu. Nhưng dòng sông Mã đã dập tắt mọi ước mơ của cậu. Một sự thật hiện hữu nhưng không nhiều người biết đến, đuối nước là nguyên nhân hàng đầu gây tử vong ở trẻ. Theo số liệu của Tổ chức Y tế Thế giới WHO, mỗi giờ trôi qua, đuối nước cướp đi mạng sống của 42 người. Ước tính rằng mỗi năm có 372.000 người tử vong do đuối nước trên toàn thế giới. Đặc biệt tỷ lệ nạn nhân là trẻ em và vị thành niên ngày càng tăng lên. Hậu quả và mất mát cho gia đình và xã hội là không thể bù đắp được. Dòng sông Đà về đêm đã lấy lại sự bình lặng vốn có, nhưng nó vượt.
So these are great losses for the family and also society. So I think that's all the some information and clip that we want to send to you. Next, we will focus on the main topics, agenda of the program. So for the first question, we would like to address question to representative from Malaysia, Vice Minister. So at the State Management Agency for Children, protecting the rights of children in Vietnam. So what is the cause of child running today, the Vice Minister? I just want to talk a little bit about the current child drowning situation in Vietnam. I think in the past period, with the attention and direction of the party, state and national assembly, and close coordination of ministry, unions, and cooperation of domestic and foreign international organizations, child injury, especially death from child drowning, had dropped compared to previously. In 2010, there were 3,300 child drowning deaths. In the 2016-2020 periods, on average, each year there are about more than 2,000 children die from drowning. So we have seen that child drowning situation in Vietnam is higher in other regional countries and also other countries of higher income. So I think this is the issue we need to focus more, because 76% child drowning mainly occurs in community, and followed by at home about 22%. And child drowning occurring to both children who are able to swim and who are not able to swim. So maybe they go to the slow water open bodies and they do not have rescue skills to save or rescue their friends, so they all got drowned together. So I think that you have watched the clips, you've seen that one already. And I think there are many causes for this one. I think number one is that communities awareness, parents, caregivers, and children themselves of the dangers of drowning. I think they are quite remain limited. Both knowledge, skills, so that they can protect themselves and their parents and relatives to protect their children. Many cases of child injury and drowning occurs in Vietnam happening due to the unattendance of adults, lack of knowledge of the children themselves. For example, children, they go in a group for vacation, for holiday, without attendance of adults, and they went to river, pond, lakes, or ocean. So drowning could occur. And even some kids were drowned in the swimming pool in the hotel and so on. So I think parents' supervision should be paid more attention to. And the second point, the living environment in each family and outside community is quite specific and not safe, because Vietnam have a long coastline. We got a lot of pond, rivers, and lakes. You know, in some the Mekong Delta regions, they are characterized by canals and rivers. So I think that our community are quite open, because kids from those families can play with other families' kids, and they can create their tourists or activities or go outdoors together without attendance of parents. So I think it's quite typical characteristics of Vietnamese culture. So we need to provide those children with skills and knowledge. So I think this is one of the causes, maybe the first top causes of child drowning. Number three,
hiện nay trẻ em mà bị đuối nước đang là một vấn đề rất là bức thiết.
You know that in our country, the natural living environment had many potential risks of causing child injury. And Vietnam, it's characterized by landslide, storm, rain, natural disasters, and so on. So they are one of the causes of child drowning, because we may have some flash floods. Water from upstream going down within 1 or 2 hours and everything was inundated and submerged under the water. So I think this is also one of the causes of drowning caused by natural disasters. So I think it's quite typical of the Vietnam climate and weather condition. The other thing is that we lack the safety skills for children in water environment. We know that some children are able to swim, but they cannot secure the safety skill, and they do not have other skill to protect themselves and to rescue other victims as well. For example, if a child got drowned, the other child should have the skill to rescue, but they just directly jump to the water and rescue the victim, and they may got drowned because of the victim. And another point is that teaching children how to swim, I think the rate of swimming teaching is so low compared to overall data. So this is one of the areas we need to improve further. We are in shortage of swimming pools in many areas, many parts of the country. Even in Hanoi, not only the places outside Hanoi. And we also have limited number of teachers or swimming instructors. Now I know that some locations they have to rely on in-house swimming teachers. And still many parents and many donors, many children lovers, they donate their land, ponds or other area to the children so that they have some place to learn the swimming lesson. I think this is the point that we need to think more about, because we may have seen light at the end of the tunnel, so we can guide parents or children lovers or philanthropists, those they know, and they can come to support and use the local resources to support children in building up their rescue skill and also survival skill. Another point in relation to compliance to the regulations of law on prevention of injury, I think it's not really done well. Like joining traffic, for example, road traffic law, even waterway or inland traffic, the level of compliance to regulation to some extent remains not so good. So we need to promote further people awareness on compliance to regulations of the law. And we need to mobilize other agencies, the mass organization, so that people are fully aware of compliance to regulations of the law, particularly when taking ferry boats or when building houses or other public works. So we have seen that quite lots of construction works during the construction periods, it not secure the safety regulation. So quite lots of accidents occurs when children fall into the water holes, and they may get drowned in the ditches or water hole from the construction sites. So if we can strengthen the regulation, we can reduce chance and drowning. And we want to have stronger coordination with other government agencies and donors, because our current resources for child injury prevention in general and child drowning prevention in particular remains limited, although we have tried our best to do so. But anyway, we're so grateful to WHO and the HAI and other international organizations for supporting us in child drowning prevention program in 8 provinces so far. Dr. Kidong Park and I myself attended a launching event 2 years ago, and in the review meeting, about 200 participants from different parts of the country, not only from 8 intervention provinces, but also other non-intervention sites, also attended that review meeting. They could also develop their own specific solution to their own condition. So I think This is the point we are still weak at. But I think it's also an opportunity for us to think more about when we have new interventions. When we pilot it in some places, it makes us successful and it's recognized by international organizations and people who see that, okay, your work is good, so they are willing to support and devote their land for building swimming pool. Or for example, in Cẩm Xuyên district of Hà Tĩnh province, teachers there spend 3 months of summer vacation for free teaching for kids in their location. They are willing to join in building the portable pools for children. So I think the success of our program to some extent is attributed to the joint coordination with different agencies. So I am so grateful to Dr. Ki Dong Park and Ms. Huyền from JCI and other international organizations for supporting us for further extension of the program to additional 4 provinces in the future. So I mean that I have covered the reasons, the causes, some possible solutions, how we are going to implement the program in 8 provinces in the future, and how we can cascade the program to other non-interventions so that we can all make contribution to reducing child drowning prevention in the country. Thank you. Thank you, Her Excellency Ha, for very thorough and comprehensive response to the question. So next we want to address the question to Dr. Ki Dong Park. Can I ask you one question? Currently, there are many people who think that just sending their children to swimming lesson is enough to prevent drowning. So from your perspective of technical expertise, what is your opinion on the above viewpoints and what are your recommendations on this issue?
Vâng, xin trân trọng cảm ơn quý vị. Chúng ta biết đuối nước là kẻ giết người vô hình và là vấn đề y tế công cộng. Mỗi một năm thì có đến 372.000 người tử vong do đuối nước và trên 90% số ca này là đến từ những nước có thu nhập thấp và trung bình. Và trên thế giới thì tỷ lệ đuối nước chủ yếu là xảy ra ở trẻ em. Liên quan đến câu hỏi của anh, rất là đúng. Việc dạy bơi cho trẻ em và kỹ năng an toàn là một trong những giải pháp hiệu quả để phòng ngừa đuối nước ở trẻ em. Tuy nhiên thì cho những trẻ nhỏ, trước khi mà trẻ được đi học thì cần phải có một giải pháp khác. Đó là giải pháp có sự giám sát trẻ. Tổ chức Y tế Thế giới thì đã đồng hành với cả Việt Nam trong việc kiểm soát và phòng chống thương tích trẻ em, đặc biệt là phòng chống đuối nước. Và năm 2019 thì Tổ chức Y tế Thế giới cũng đã công bố hướng dẫn triển khai phòng chống đuối nước. Và đặc biệt là chúng tôi cũng đã đề cập đến 6 can thiệp và 4 giải pháp theo hướng dẫn về phòng chống đuối nước của Tổ chức Y tế Thế giới. Đầu tiên là đảm bảo cái nơi an toàn cho trẻ, để trẻ được chăm sóc, được giám sát. Điểm thứ hai đó là chúng ta kiểm soát, ngăn chặn trẻ tới các khu vực nguy hiểm có liên quan đến nước. Thứ ba đó là chúng ta dạy cho những trẻ trên 6 tuổi kỹ năng bơi an toàn. Thứ tư đó là chúng ta xây dựng và chúng ta phải có các biện pháp để giảm thiểu rủi ro. Và thứ năm đó là dạy cho trẻ các kỹ năng cứu nạn nhân và tăng cường triển khai các quy định liên quan đến là giao thông đường thủy. Và để có thể triển khai hiệu quả thì chúng ta không những là triển khai 6 các cái gói can thiệp như ở trên, mà chúng ta cần phải thúc đẩy hơn nữa sự tham gia của nhiều ban ngành. Đặc biệt là đánh giá rất cao Bộ Lao động Thương binh Xã hội đã phối hợp trong quá trình này và nâng cao nhận thức của cộng đồng và thông qua hoạt động truyền thông, cũng giống như cái buổi tọa đàm ngày hôm nay của chúng ta. Đồng thời xây dựng kế hoạch quốc gia về phòng chống đuối nước cho trẻ và đưa các cái bài học về dạy kỹ năng sinh tồn cho trẻ vào trong hệ thống giáo dục. Vâng. Chúng ta đã biết là 2 năm trước đây thì Bộ Lao động Thương binh Xã hội và Tổ chức Y tế Thế giới và Tổ chức Vận động Chính sách Y tế Toàn cầu cũng đã phát động một chương trình mới Và ở đây thì chúng tôi cũng đưa ra được các cái ưu tiên. Đầu tiên đó là triển khai các cái chương trình để đảm bảo là giám sát trẻ một cách an toàn cho trẻ dưới 5 tuổi. Cái điểm thứ hai đó là dạy các cái bài học an toàn cho trẻ trong môi trường nước đối với trẻ từ 6 đến 15 tuổi. Giống như là bà Thứ trưởng Hà cũng đã nói là năm 2018 thì Tổ chức Y tế Thế giới cùng với cả Bộ Lao động Thương binh Xã hội, quỹ Bloomberg và Tổ chức Vận động Y tế Toàn cầu cũng đã phát động một cái chương trình mới về phòng chống đuối nước ở trẻ em mà chúng tôi thì cũng đã có ghi nhận được kết quả rất là tốt sau hơn 2 năm triển khai, và chúng tôi sẽ tiếp tục mở rộng cái chương trình này ra 4 tỉnh nữa, và tôi nghĩ rằng chúng ta có thể nhận thấy cái kết quả đó là giảm tỷ lệ trẻ bị tử vong do đuối nước. Thank you very much.
Mạnh đến 6 can thiệp và 4 giải pháp theo hướng dẫn về phòng chống đuối nước của WHO.
Solution under WHO guidelines. So I think that's the 4 points that we have seen from the beginning of the program. So next term, let's see how children view drowning. So I would like to you to watch a video clip.
Hiện nay trẻ em mà bị đuối nước đang là một vấn đề rất là bức thiết. Đã có rất là nhiều những vụ tai nạn thương tâm xảy ra, đặc biệt là tính mạng của những học sinh. Lẽ ra thì các bạn đang được tiếp tục đi học nhưng đã mất mạng do bị đuối nước.
Không bao giờ nhảy xuống cứu bạn trực tiếp vì là làm thế rất là nguy hiểm cho tính mạng của hai người.
Cùng với đó là bố mẹ sẽ cùng đồng hành với con và dạy cho con những cái kỹ năng an toàn để phòng tránh đuối nước. Hiện nay trẻ em mà bị đuối nước đang là
things that though kids may be at quite young age, but they have quite mature thoughts on this issue. So now let's go back to our talk. The next questions are to Ms. Huyền, Director of GSJI. Child drowning situation is one of the most painful issues but had not received proper attention from the community. So tell us about your views. And GSJI is one of the international organizations that is supporting the global and Vietnam on child drowning prevention. So can you share with us the way the donors support Vietnam? Thank you very much. As Vice Minister mentioned, that drowning prevention is a part of a national strategy on child injury prevention, and the government aims to reduce child drowning mortality by 6% by 2025. From my perspective, from legislation, policies, implementation, there's still time to go. We may lack of infrastructure or limitation or limited awareness of parents and children, as mentioned by Vice Minister Ha, and also head of different agencies. So we have seen that there are many other challenges in making this a reality. So my point of view here is taking the children at the center approach. So we need to have a comprehensive and complex intervention from many solutions. For example, for children under 5 years of age, so we need to monitor and supervise them as the first priority. And kindergartens play a crucial role to assure their survival and safety. So we need to strengthen the supervision and monitoring of those kids in their families and kindergartens. We are currently conducting intervention in 12 provinces, and in 2019 over 9,000 children were taught to swim, and more than 17,000 children learned safety skills in the water environment, and nearly 5,000 kindergarten parents and teachers were provided with communication and skill training. So children are exposed to open society and environment. So the teaching for them not only limited within the school and families, so we need to teach them how to survive. I use the word survival. Teaching how to swim, this is not a choice, but I think this is compulsory for the children, because if the children are fully aware that survival is that thing they need to take on, and they need to be provided with knowledge and skill to assure their survival. And I think that in any water environment, when the children are there, they are at risk of drowning. So even when they are in the swimming lesson, we have seen a lot of tragic cases. The children got drowned in their swimming lesson. So we need to have comprehensive and complex intervention where child is placed at the center. So in 2019, I recap again, so we taught 9,000 children to swim, and more than 17 children learned safety skills in the water environment. And the proportion of children who were able to swim in the community had increased many times, particularly in areas where we provided our intervention like Lào Cai, Yên Bái and Đắk Lắk. And the number of children dying from drowning is lower than the area without program intervention. Particularly in peak season, May and June and September, when I went to the field talking with the parents, I know that some parents, they live far away from the swimming class, about 20 kilometers away in Đắk Lắk. They said that, well, without the support from the program, we could never taken our children to the class. In some other locations like Yên Bái, Lào Cai, or the forest district of Thanh Hóa province, also the same situation. If we don't have appropriate approach, if we don't bring the opportunity to the children, I'm sure that children will never be able to swim, and they cannot assure their safety in the water. So I have to emphasize that we have to take child at the center of our care. So we need to join hands, not only school, family, but also the whole society. And we have to understand that this is the thing, or we must do. Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Huyền from ZHAI for excellent response. So we have talked with our guest speaker today already. So I think that I would like to invite you to review some of the performance results as mentioned by Ms. Huyền through a short clip.
Nhằm giảm thiểu tử vong do đuối nước ở trẻ em, chương trình phòng chống đuối nước trẻ em giai đoạn từ năm 2018 đến năm 2022 do Quỹ từ thiện Bloomberg tài trợ, thông qua tổ chức vận động chính sách y tế toàn cầu và sự hỗ trợ kỹ thuật của Tổ chức Y tế Thế giới, Bộ Lao động Thương binh và Xã hội là cơ quan chủ quản phối hợp với các bộ ban ngành địa phương thực hiện. Chương trình đã triển khai ban đầu các hoạt động can thiệp tại hơn 100 xã của 21 huyện của 8 tỉnh Lào Cai, Yên Bái, Ninh Bình, Thanh Hóa, Quảng Bình, Đắk Lắk, Đồng Tháp, Sóc Trăng và đạt được nhiều kết quả đáng khích lệ. Chương trình đã hỗ trợ tăng cường năng lực quản lý, điều phối, phối hợp triển khai cho mạng lưới gồm các bộ ngành như Bộ Công an, Bộ Giáo dục và Đào tạo, Bộ Y tế và Tổng cục Thể thao, các tổ chức chính trị xã hội như Đoàn Thanh niên, Hội Nông dân, đồng thời thúc đẩy hợp tác các tổ chức phi chính phủ trong phòng chống đuối nước trẻ em tại Việt Nam. Các tài liệu hướng dẫn của chương trình đã được chuẩn hóa trước khi triển khai can thiệp, bao gồm hướng dẫn bơi an toàn và an toàn trong môi trường nước, hướng dẫn giám sát trẻ an toàn dưới 5 tuổi, hơn 600 giảng viên nòng cốt và tuyến tỉnh được đào tạo chuẩn về bơi an toàn, phòng chống đuối nước và cấp chứng nhận bởi Tổng cục Thể thao. 78,1% số cha mẹ, người chăm sóc trẻ được tiếp cận thông tin về chương trình. Nếu so sánh với địa bàn không triển khai can thiệp, tỷ lệ này chỉ hơn 20%. Nhận thức của phụ huynh về nguy cơ của đuối nước trẻ em tăng từ 63% lên 72% sau một năm. Hơn 4.000 cha mẹ có con dưới 6 tuổi và trên 700 giáo viên mầm non được đào tạo kỹ năng giám sát trẻ an toàn. Đã có 8 bể bơi của chương trình được lắp đặt mới và 35 bể bơi huy động của địa phương để tổ chức dạy bơi cho trẻ em. Chỉ tính riêng năm 2019, hơn 8.000 trẻ được dạy bơi an toàn, hơn 17.000 trẻ được dạy kỹ năng an toàn trong môi trường nước, vượt 13% kế hoạch đặt ra. Tỷ lệ biết bơi chung tại 8 tỉnh chương trình hiện nay là 25,5%, cao hơn hẳn so với tỷ lệ trung bình 14,7% vào thời điểm trước can thiệp của chương trình.
Also,
hơn
we have
90% phụ huynh,
seen
người chăm sóc trẻ
improvement
hài lòng
in
với
the
các lớp dạy bơi an toàn và được cung cấp bởi chương trình.
intervention period.
Để tiếp nối các kết quả khả quan trong những năm qua, chương trình sẽ tiếp tục mở rộng thêm 4 tỉnh và thúc đẩy hơn nữa các can thiệp hiệu quả đến năm 2022. Từ đó, đảm bảo tính bền vững của chương trình bằng những chính sách, kế hoạch cụ thể, tăng cường hơn nữa sự đầu tư của chính quyền, các cấp để đảm bảo sự an toàn và phát triển cho trẻ em Việt Nam. Nhằm giảm thiểu tử vong do đuối nước ở trẻ em.
Thank you. Now we will continue with the next guest speaker. We have talked to representative from Malaysia, from WHO, ZHAI on solution. Now we would like you to meet Mr. Hoàng Anh Tu, a journalist. He is also an advice columnist, of school children's newspaper. He is also a parent. And so can you tell us about drowning prevention from the viewpoint of a journalist and also parents? What are your advices? Thank you, Ngọc, for the question, and thank you, people, for your participation. For myself, I am very sad because I cannot swim now. And the reason why I cannot swim, well, there are many reasons, but I think this is not only my personal issue, but it is also an issue of the whole society. For other people of my generation, when I was a small kid, I was not brought to swimming lesson by my mother. My mother thought that if I were taken to the water bodies, I might have been at risk of drowning, so she could not, bring me to the swimming lessons. In Hanoi, so we have quite a limited number of swimming pools. My daughter in her secondary school, in her school they have a swimming pool, but they all get dry, never have water in the pool, and they don't have the playground for the children. They don't have children to watch and to clean the swimming pool. So the swimming pool is dry and people can walk in the swimming pool. So in all my school years, I was always bullied and threatened by my families to push me to the water because they know this is my weakness. And when children they play, they always threaten other people. And for myself, many times I got further scared when I was threatened by friends to push me to the water. And sometimes I got stroke from water. My first two children, when they started the grade 1, I brought them to the swimming lesson. Well, we didn't know because they were small, and parents were so worried about because they are so small. And many of my friends told me that, okay, let's take your kids to swimming lesson when they are in grade 2 or grade 3, because at grade 1 they are too small. Many parents scared the fact that their child might be at risk of drowning if they are too small. But my third kid, even when she was 3 years old, I brought her to the swimming lesson, and it was okay for her. And then I think, if we can take our child to swimming from very young age, they can learn it quickly. And now when I work with some other agencies on child drowning prevention, I open my further knowledge that if they know how to swim, it doesn't assure their safety. But I think other survival skills are more important, because children can swim, but they don't have survival skills. In other countries, they teach children to swim with different styles, like freestyles or breaststrokes or flight and so on, but never they are taught on how to rescue a friend if their friend fall into the water. For example, when they have a cramp in the water, how do they react? Most of my friends who are able to swim and they can teach swimming, but they don't have the skill to teach their learners how to rescue and how to secure their survival in the water. So that is the fact. Yeah, as mentioned by Prime Minister, that Vietnam had a long coastline with over 2,000 rivers, ponds, and so on. So this is a very, let's say, disaster-prone condition, particularly for child drowning, and it poses great, risk to our children. So I think quite lots of schools, the schools of my kids are also included in your intervention program. Then children can do some activities apart from swimming. For example, they can do some other physical activities. So many children select not to take on the swim lesson, and they want to take other non-swimming lesson. Maybe they get shy when they have to take off their clothes in front of other people. So some kids select to take a running course rather than a swimming course. You know that in SEA Games competition, our swimmer athletes always got high, prize, golds and some bronze medal and silver medals. But in the school level, right, I don't think that we have the compulsory swimming lesson in the school. So quite a lot of well-known athletes, swimming athletes, they learn it by themselves or by their family, not by the system. And it seems that none of them had become a person who can inspire other people to take on swimming. So I think that we need to promote further societal awareness on this issue. And I hope that we have stronger and closer coordination with different sectors and agencies focusing on awareness or behavioral change communication. Our awareness change, I understand that it may take time. For example, now TikTok become trendy for young population. So maybe teaching swimming, teaching survival skill or rescue skill could become a kind of trendy intervention, for the young generation now. Because we have a very long coastline, over 3,000 kilometers. Why don't we have a kind of national swimming competition? We have only football competition, we have basketball competition, but I have seen no swimming competition in the school system in Vietnam. So I think maybe there are some factors that contribute to that situation, because we don't have enough swimming pool, and we are now experiencing a very fast urbanization process. So people just think about a condominium or complex rather than building swimming pools or recreational areas for people. In my living areas, we have a small swimming pool. It's all the way packed or crowded. So I think that we have very good advantage geographical condition now. If we have stronger support from the government and other ministries and sectors, I'm sure that swimming or survival skill for children had become more interesting, and I'm sure that we can reduce the number of child drowning as mentioned previously. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Tu, for excellent response. Yeah, I also show, I myself, I am a reporter. I just want to share my thoughts. It's hard for communicators to do this work. I myself often request for funding for a program on child survival skill. When I approach enterprises, those businesses refuse. They said that swimming is nothing hot issue, so we don't want to fund you. So I think that through the talk show like this, we want to cascade widely the value of survival for our children more to other countries. So now we move on to the other side from Ho Chi Minh City. Mr. Tu Ha, after listening to our back and forth discussion, can you please tell us about your feeling? And you are also a journalist and a mother. Do you have other advice to other parents to raise their awareness on child drowning prevention? So Ms. Ha. So good morning. My name is Ha. I am from Ho Chi Minh City. Can you hear me clearly? Yes, very clearly. So we have heard the talk from our guest speakers. I feel very moved because it had brought me back to my childhood, because I was born in Thanh Hóa province, and I also, my native village is from Ninh Bình. They have a lots of ponds and rivers, and we always have ponds and wells around our homes. You know that gardens, pond economy, you know, that's very well known in the rural area of the country. And in our old saying said that if you are happy because you have children who are able to swim. In my childhood, we could go out for fishing and picking up vegetables and so on. But I still see every year there were drowning in my village every year as well. So it also happened to my family as well. Yeah, a person 20 years old died from drowning. Though very painful memories, and I still remember. In my family, we have a big and deep well. So it's just a deep hole, and we have planked wood to cross over for us to stand on and to take the water. But you know, fortunately that we were not drowned. Anyway, we were safe. Maybe communication is also part of the solution. When parents are not fully understanding the importance of drowning prevention by teaching them how to swim and survival skills, particularly amidst the COVID-19 pandemic, I got some sad feeling because we are now strongly affected by COVID-19. So I want you to promote stronger our communication on child drowning amidst COVID-19. So we have different channels of communication on newspaper, electronic newspaper, social media, and also texting through telephone number as well. So I want the communication should be tailored or customized to different target audience, so that people from every corner of the country can be reached by our communication messages. I still remember when I was small, whenever we had a drowning case in the village, my parents often told us that they got drowned in that sections of the river, never go to that area, but they never taught us how to swim and how to stay safely in the water. But now I am a mother. I really want my children to be able to swim. I took them to the swimming class when they were in the kindergarten age as well. Anyway, say swimming skills is only part of the overall survival of the children only. And I think that this is the issue that I feel it very heartbroken, because I'm working on communication. I've seen many cases of drowning, it's mass drowning. 3 children died from drowning. So my question here is, why such mass drowning still occurring? I think that for children, rescuing other people, it's to some extent it's a kind of an instinct of the children. When they see children are in the water, they just jump in the water directly and pull them out of the water, but they do not know how to secure their survival. And I am a communicator. I have written some articles on people who rescue and save other people as like a hero, and many people are proud of becoming a hero like that one. So apart from paying tribute to children in rescuing their children, their friends, but we need to teach them and sending the public a more clear message that when rescuing a victim in the water, they should not become the second victim because of their action. Because I think the most important thing is that to call for help, not just jump directly in the water to save or rescue the victim. So we were trained properly, and I also teach my children that when you see the case, you need to be calm and to use some afloat devices to throw the water for the victim to grasp or to hold. Or otherwise, if you jump down directly to the water, you may get drowned very easily. And you know, the victim will hold you very tightly and you cannot escape and you may get drowned. So for this program, I myself, you know, I was also doing a live stream program on similar program, and we have seen about over 50 or 60,000 views. We show them how to call for help, how to respond in those risk situations. From my perspective, later on we will develop further so that we can further promote communication on this issue, particularly on child drowning prevention. In my home village, when I go back to my home village, we seen smaller number of ponds and wells, but there is another risk. I read an article from France, a newspaper. The number of drowning cases in France had reduced by 30% in the past 10 years. And the solution to that was that the introduction of smartphone. Maybe parents are so much focusing on their smartphone or just poking their nose to their smartphone, so they, you know, to some extent become neglected of watching their children just about 30 seconds and then the baby got drowned. And even some children die from the bathtub in the family only. So we need to promote stronger and wider communication to the public, saying that drowning can happen to anybody and any place, and you should always be well prepared, not only be able to swim as mentioned by Mr. Tu or other speakers, but children should also be equipped with the skills, survival skills. So when you got to the water, or when you see victim, friend or other relatives who are in the water, you know how to react and how to rescue safely. You see that many people who rescue people pulled out of the water, they place the victim on the shoulder and run in order to make the water come out of their body. But I think that that is not the correct way. So we need to pay attention to providing first aid and how to conduct resuscitation properly. Or otherwise, you may endanger the victim rather than saving the victims. And I just want to have a promise with you that if you really keen on, and from myself, I will try my best to promote further communication on child drowning so that we can prevent further occurrence in the future. Thank you. So thank you, Ms. Ha, for excellent sharing. I know that when she share her story, and maybe I understand the audience may see that maybe some information they have never heard before, meaning that teaching children to swim is not enough, but they have to teach them with survival skill as well. So we need to know more on survival skill. For example, you can use some afloat devices, or you can use a rope, or you can use a rod or other devices available to help the victim safely. So I think that teaching swimming is not enough. We need to have other survival skills to be provided to our children. So we will continue with our talk because we are now live streaming on social media. We also have some questions from the audience. So the first question from Chi Nguyen account say, in order to address the issue of child drowning in Vietnam, so what are directions or guidelines of the government to reduce child drowning in Vietnam? So, Madam Ha. Thank you, the MC and also audience who are attending the live stream. So I think your question is so significant for us from the management agency perspective. We are the management agency on child's affairs, and we have provided technical advice to the government and National Assembly, particularly in 2016, the law on the child, which stipulates responsibility of different military sectors, and also the public in child injury prevention in general, particularly child drowning prevention. 2 months ago, before the National Assembly meeting, we had the Prime Minister Directive number 23 on assuring the right and protecting the children. It also mentioned the requirement for Malaysia and the government direction to other militaries and sectors in assuring right to survival of the child. And the government had also emphasized the role and responsibility of heads of local authorities at all levels to assure safety in child injury prevention and child drowning prevention. The directive also mentioned, let's say, timely and strict measures for any locality or agencies that do not fully enforce their responsibility and role. So in enforcing this government and National Assembly's stewardship, Malaysia had been working with 9 other ministries and sectors to implement this program. And together with them, we also conduct communication campaigns, national campaign to provide knowledge and skills to parents, to teachers, children, and every citizen of the country. 1 month ago, a text message program sending to telephone were launched and disseminated through Vinaphone and Viettel. They are telecommunication company, and Malaysia had also conducted the mass media communication through social media and also developing communication materials. I also noted the point mentioned by Mr. Tu, because I have been in this post for many years. For youth or small kids newspaper, Mr. Tu mentioned that we have a lot of sports competition like football or basketball. We don't have swimming competition. So I hope that from the talk show today, Mr. Nam and Ms. Hoa from the Department of Child Affairs, please work with the Youth Union and also other media agency like Pioneer Children newspaper, and together with other state management agency, and also promote a kind of social mobilization so that we can jointly organize a kind of streaming program where our child drowning prevention become hotter. And I'm sure that we have media agency, we have, let's say, advice columnists like Mr. Tu here. They are journalists. They can help us to develop and to design, let's say, more intriguing or attractive wording or communication messages to the public. So I think, thank you very much for that one. You know, if we work, let's say, together effectively, I'm sure that we will have attractive and trendy deliverables, attractive to parents and children. And I am sure that Ministry's Education and Training, together with the Youth Union, will, you know, echo on this point. Next, building a safe environment in community, in family and school. Actually, is that we have about 4 million households meeting the criteria of safe houses, and 8,000 safe schools, and 200 communes and wards meeting the criteria. So, which means that in those areas we have set up some like danger signage, you know, where they are characterized by ponds and rivers. The number remains limited, but I have seen the evolution and improvement so far. And number 6 is to develop safety skills on children's injury prevention and child drowning prevention. So in this regard, we have been working with WHO and the HAI. And this program had also went into life the public. It also included in the school system. So we have gained some initial very promising results, and also guiding and training parents, caregivers and teachers on child supervision skills. And the last point is implementations of intersectoral monitoring and supervision on child safety. We have the National Assembly supervision or oversight abuse of children, but we also have sub commissions on monitoring of child safety. And to some extent, we have proactively promoted social mobilizations and engagement of businesses from domestics and international organizations, and also the public as well. And we hope that, as I mentioned earlier, and I hope that from the information on drowning risk, and Ms. Huyền mentions that drowning prevention is actually a child survival issue. So this is a kind of human issue, and I hope that Vietnamese government, international organizations, schools, families and children, please watch again live stream programs so that we can work together to find appropriate solutions, and with different models supported by international organizations, they should be promoted widely. And from the initiative from Mr. Tu, I hope that it will be realized in 2021. And if possible, if we can have a national swimming competition, like a kind of swimming festival, that would be great. And we may have about 2,000 kids who can perform the swimming competition for to see. So I hope that this dream will become true. Thank you very much. Let me ask Dr. Kidong Park from the audience. So they want to ask you a question. If we let children to learn swimming before the age of 6 years old, is this enough, or they should be taught swimming earlier or after 6 years of age? Câu hỏi rất là hay. Vâng, Tổ chức Y tế Thế giới chúng tôi có một thuật ngữ khác đó là cái chương trình đảm bảo bơi an toàn trong môi trường nước. Vâng, trước khi mà trẻ được cứu thì trẻ cần phải có kỹ năng để an toàn trong môi trường nước. Thực ra chương trình này đã được thiết kế để dạy cho trẻ em trong nhiều năm trước rồi. Tất nhiên là những kinh nghiệm trên thế giới đã cho thấy rằng trong nhiều trường hợp thì trẻ dưới 5 tuổi có cái khả năng gọi là bắt nước hoặc là bơi thì còn hạn chế. Nhưng dạy bơi, dạy trẻ kỹ năng an toàn nổi trong môi trường nước thì hoàn toàn có thể dạy cho nhóm trẻ này được. Và tất nhiên là trong một khoảng thời gian hẹp, thế nhưng mà chúng ta vẫn hoàn toàn có thể dạy cho trẻ dưới 6 tuổi những cái kỹ năng gọi là an toàn trong môi trường nước, mà không nhất thiết trẻ phải là những trẻ biết bơi như là vận động viên ở độ tuổi này. Thì tôi nghĩ điều đấy là tôi muốn chia sẻ.
Đó là những câu trả lời tôi nghĩ là cũng rất cụ thể.
Yes,
và
thank you very much for your very specific response to the question. So parents, you can take your children to a swimming lesson before the age of 6 or 5 years. It's okay. It's normal. So you don't have to worry. You don't have to keep your children after 6 years and then let your children learn the swimming lesson. So thank you very much for your question. So I think that we don't have much time left for the talk show. Because we have a limited time limit, we have received a lot of sharing and contribution from people. So before I finish off the program, so we would like to invite a guest speaker to have some final words or recommendation for the people on this issue. You can send the message to the parents, to community, or to different organizations so that we can reduce child running in the country. So first, we would like to invite Vice Minister Ha to respond. So if we want to make some recommendation to parents, first we have to raise high responsibility parents on their child's survival by teaching them swimming, teaching them survival skill in the water. Second, right within your families, I mean your living environment, you need to assure the living environments are safe. And apart from taking the children to swimming class, you should also pay attention to some area where you may neglect and the children may got at risk of dying. And parents, you should not teach your children to become a kind of professional competitor. Don't just keep that mentality. You can also provide your children with survival skill at very young age. And for other ministries and sectors and locality, we would like you to follow strictly the government direction, raising their responsibility and role, not to let child injury or child drowning in your locality. For example, lacking solution, lacking resources, or lacking danger signage, and so on. So you need to assure and well prepare to assure your child survival. And the third point, we need to raise awareness to create very safe environment for the children and also those who are involved in guiding technically the children to stay safe in the water. So which means that we're going to show the training for the parents and also the teachers of the school as well. And we need to strengthen the inter-agency and intersectoral collaboration within your locality. The final point, I want to strengthen the inspection across different agencies, and we would like to request international organizations to support us in this endeavor. And I think that together with the support from different military and sectors, local authorities should also be prepared to earmark their local funding for their children in the province, so that the children have opportunity to stay safe in the water. Thank you. We have the short clip after the response from the Vice Minister.
An toàn của trẻ em, mỗi gia đình, cộng đồng, chính quyền địa phương cần chủ động quản lý trẻ em. Tuyệt đối không để trẻ em chơi ở những khu vực có nguy cơ gây đuối nước, không có người lớn giám sát.
Giếng nước, bể nước hoặc các đồ dùng chứa nước khác phải có nắp đậy an toàn. Chính quyền, đoàn thể cấp xã, phường rà soát, cảnh báo, phân công thành viên giám sát tại khu vực có nguy cơ đuối nước. Mặc áo phao cho trẻ em khi bơi và khi tham gia giao thông đường thủy.
Cha mẹ, người chăm sóc trẻ em cần học kiến thức, kỹ năng đảm bảo an toàn cho trẻ em trong môi trường nước.
Trẻ em từ 6 đến 15 tuổi cần được học kỹ năng an toàn trong môi trường nước và học bơi an toàn.
Vì tính mạng, cuộc sống an toàn của trẻ em, hãy bảo vệ trẻ em khỏi tai nạn đuối nước. An toàn của trẻ em, mỗi gia đình, cộng đồng, chính quyền địa phương cần chủ động quản lý trẻ em. Tuyệt đối không để trẻ em chơi ở những khu vực có nguy cơ gây đuối nước.
From Dr. Kidong Park, for our program today. Vâng, các bạn biết là trẻ em là tương lai của chúng ta. Vâng, là tương lai của gia đình và của xã hội. Và sứ mệnh của chúng ta là phải bảo vệ trẻ em, tức là bảo vệ tương lai của chúng ta. Tôi nghĩ rằng điều này lãnh đạo của các bộ ngành trong nước chúng ta nhận thức rất là rõ. Và tôi cho rằng chúng ta cần phải tăng cường hơn nữa các cái biện pháp để bảo vệ trẻ em. Những trẻ mà dưới 5 tuổi thì cần phải đảm bảo là trẻ được trông nom, được giám sát một cách an toàn trong gia đình và trong cộng đồng. Đặc biệt là trước các cái tai nạn do đuối nước, đối với những trẻ đi học thì trẻ cần được trang bị các kỹ năng, ví dụ như là học bơi, kỹ năng sinh tồn trong môi trường nước. Vâng, cái mục đích của chúng ta là đảm bảo là trẻ được an toàn khi mà bị rơi vào cái khu vực có nước. Vâng. Và khi mà chúng ta đảm bảo như vậy thì rõ ràng thế hệ tương lai của chúng ta sẽ trở nên khỏe mạnh hơn và thông minh hơn. So the final remark from Ms. Huyền, GHAI. I still remember recalling these moments last year when I went to Thanh Hóa province and I went to a family where they have a kid at grade 7 died from drowning. Yeah, during the morning days when they were supported and cared by organizations, friends, schools, relatives, and so on. And you know that 10 or 15 days after that, that was a tragic day for the families because the kids' books, notebooks, and clothes left there, and it was very hard, broken for the family. We know that drowning is a silent killer. Sometimes this issue had been neglected, or maybe the event occurs to other families, so it may not within our care. But anyway, if it happened to your family, it's really, really heartbroken and painful issue. So I want that all the people please pay attention, please care for the children, and we have more specific solution and more attention to the children, because their survival is the most precious treasure that we can never restore when it's past. So I think the last point, I see that in the context of COVID-19, sometimes we have to sacrifice economic benefits in order to assure the safety of the country. So I would love to say that all media agency, different agency, please cascade, please inspire our good example to different corners of the countries and different agencies so that they can be adopted widely. And I'm sure that our dream will be realized very soon in the immediate future. Thank you. So before we close off the program, we would like to thank the participation from guest speakers and the audience to make the program so much informative. We thank our beloved audience who are caring our children, our future on an issue that we need to further improve. I mean the drought prevention for children. So the final part is that we would like to give flowers to our guest speaker. So we would like to invite representative from Department of Social Affairs and Ms. Hoa. Please come to the stage to give flowers to our guest speakers. And also we want to invite people from the Ministry of Public Security and Ministry of Education and Training to give flowers to our guest speaker. Thank you very much. So Ms. Diệm from the Ministries of Transport, yes, please come to the stage to give flowers to our guest speaker as tokens of gratitude for their talk. Thank you. So ladies and gentlemen, I think that perhaps the story of drowning is not changed one, but not fully aware of it important to prevent such accidents. So as the name of the program, Your Care, Child Survival, we, the programmers, hope that each of us will have proper awareness of child drowning accidents and join hands to protect the life of our children because they are the future of the country. We thank you very much for your time.